it's unfortunate that it's coming to an end, and today's the official announcement of my retirement, effective immediately. Joseph, I won't be a Rabbitohs captain anymore after today. So, but thanks for the intro. That's why we're holding this press conference here today. I was only talking about last night how reliving the stories about growing up and looking up to my father over there, and much of his legend he was to me, and he still is. And to my knowledge, he showed up this morning on a train at 6:30 to be here today with me, and I didn't think it was real, so I punched him in the chest and started crying. So, he's. I'd like to thank everyone. There's so many people I can thank. People in my teammates here. They didn't have to come here today, but they did, which shows the care of the club and care of the players. And this club's given me everything, given me every opportunity. My former club gave me my start in Melbourne Storm, and there's no retirement due to mental illness or injuries or that. I just think it's time, and I think it's the right decision for myself. And I've been contemplating it for a while now, and I'll come to terms with it, and it is what it is. But I probably won't hit in until I see the boys. Probably start training or running in a few months' time. So, as of today, it's official. There's been a lot of speculations out there, and today is obviously the official retirement of myself. And like I said, what a career I've had. There's no regrets, but most important thing that my career off the field is just starting now, and I'll get to look forward to that and get to work with the boys, get to work with the club, and stay around Redfern and help the community out and do what I can with the team, and across the road with the board as well. So that's only if Wayne ever decides to say something today or hold his breath, but still got a smile on his face. He's happy. But look, it's like I said, it's been an incredible journey. I've done my first pre-season when I was 16 in Melbourne for 2 weeks. Craig Bellamy kicked me out, told me to go home. Worked on the things because I really wanted a career. Went back the next year and did a full pre-season since 17. 32 years old now, and my body's hasn't given up on me, but I think it's, like I said, I think it's time for me, and it's the right decision for myself. And now I can get to go back and just enjoy life, be around Redfern here, be around the club, and get to look after my 4 horses that I have now. They're
not racehorses?
No, they're not racehorses. Don't have that much money, Richo. It's been an incredible journey that I can't thank. There's so many people I want to thank. From the juniors to Barraville juniors to Newcastle, West Rosellas to North Devils. It's been a remarkable ride, and today's and that you'll see me put on my boots or South Sydney jersey to play football for this mighty club. I love my time here, and I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be here working with the club, and like I keep saying, it's you haven't seen the last of me yet, but you've seen the last of me playing 80 minutes on a footy field, that's for sure. So thank you all for coming here, and that's it. That's me calling it time on my career, and no one else has called it but myself, and I'm happy with myself, and I'm happy with my decision, and that's all that matters, is my happiness. And like I said, it's not the end. I'll get to move forward, get to work with the club, and that's the beauty of it. Stay with the club, and my journey's only starting now. I'm 32 years old, and I'm going back into work pretty much in a month, 2 weeks, a week.
1 week. 1 week. You haven't got any holidays.
But so I'll just hand it over to Wayne.
I'll go first. Okay. It's not a sad day for the club. People sort of keep going on. It's not a sad day at all. I think it's a great day for the club. It just seems like yesterday we sat in the hotel in Sydney and told you that Greg was coming to us, and I think it was a bit of a shock. And he's had a wonderful career with us, and I really appreciate your support with Greg over the many years, sisters and family all around. It's been a family affair, and Greg's a family guy. It was a tough call when he came to see us when we sat down last Monday, Wayne and I, and spoke to him. He actually told us then that he wanted to retire, and both Wayne and I said that, look, this is a big call, Greg. You need to go away and think about this, and you need to talk to your family and talk to your kids and what's going on. And so we gave him a week to go away and have a chat. Went to Kempsey, went home, spent time with his nan and pop and as well, which is really nice for him. And then he spent time on the weekend up in the Sunshine Coast with his kids as well. So it was really only this morning that we, because there was always the finality of him doing it, and this morning was the finality when he told us it was time to go. So I appreciate his honesty. I think people will all go on about all sorts of financial things or otherwise. The reality is he's made a decision based on himself, his own life ahead, and his family. Greg Inglis has got 25 more years minimum of work in this great game of ours, and he's. I don't think we should underestimate what he's done in the past and what we'll do in the future. And, from our point of view, from a football point of view, I mean, the reality is that I sat down this week we sat down this week with Todd and went through the NRL, so we knew exactly where we're standing. We sat down with the QRL, with Bruce Hatcher. The beauty of that was they showed care and consideration for Greg by not coming out and talking to people off the record, on the record, in between the record. They actually showed the respect that he deserves. He also spoke to Mal Meninga and Kevin Walters, who also showed the respect that he deserved. And most importantly, his teammates, who we announced to after the game on Saturday, but also showed the respect he deserves. It's been from our point of view, Greg's been working with me over the last 2 years. Greg's fully au fait with our retention, had sat in on retention meetings, understands our cap, has been helping us with our recruitment as well, and he'll continue on those roles on a more full-time basis with us, as well as being involved in the football side with Wayne and coaching and developing our young players as they come through. He's a fairly handy tool to have to sit across the table from families and tell them about what career they should have with South Sydney. And that's the beauty of Greg Inglis. And we intend to make sure that he stays with us as long as he wants to be. Also, he'll be also involved with our welfare, working with Luke Kelly and the welfare team to make sure that all of our players are actually taken care of in the way we want to. We're ramping up our welfare, getting involved with clinical psychologists, etc., etc. I think we're number 3 in the NRL as far as the players, and the NRL said in welfare last year, with Greg Inglis involved, we'll be number 1. And so it's not as I said from the beginning, this is not a sad day at all. This is a day where one of the greats of the game gets heavily involved with the club he loves for the long-term future of himself and, more importantly, the club. Blake, I'd just like to go through a bit on the other side.
Yeah, that's Richo and Wayne and Greg are going to talk about Greg's impact on the field, but I think for us, we're very excited about the impact that Greg does have and can continue to have off the field as an Indigenous leader and mentor. Over the last 12 months, Greg's significantly increased his involvement with our community programs and through South Cares. Anyone fortunate enough to watch and see Greg when he visits a school or a hospital or a community organisation or a junior club in any community, be it Redfern, Kempsey, Wellington, the difference is extraordinary. His role with South Cares now will ensure that he continues to be able to do that. And in partnership with those South Cares programs, more Indigenous kids will be healthier, more Indigenous students will finish an HSC, more Indigenous adults will stay and work and find work as a result of Greg's work with South Cares. That impact may well one day stand aside all the work and all the brilliant achievements on the field.
Well, as Greg said, it was his decision, and I'm really pleased for him. It's the hardest part, I think, of a footballer's life, is to get to that point, when your time's up, when you don't have the passion for it you need for it. But in Greg's case, it's not going to happen. He was struggling with, that part of it, and obviously through conversations and good people around him, he's been able to come to that place where he's a lot happier with himself. knows what his future is now, and it doesn't, and would never always be football, because that's just not the nature of the game, of course. But he has many other things to offer, and we're going to utilise those talents, and I'm sure the game will utilise those talents. There's a wonderful reputation in the game. He was one of the finest players of his generation, and his record and things that he's done will stand for a long, long time.
What we'll do is we're going to make the next home game, which you probably don't know about our next home game, but it's the Broncos in round 8. We're going to do Greg presenting to our members and make a celebration of his retirement at that game. So that so for all the members out there, Greg will be presented to you at the game against the Brisbane Broncos. So happens to be Darius Boyd's 300th as well. So that's probably where we're at today. So we're open to any questions that you want to ask.
Gio, when was the moment when you thought you had lost the hunger? Was it any particular time, or was it just over time that it sort of sunk in that you'd lost a bit of your passion?
It was just over time, really. I just knew I wasn't in the right headspace, to be quite honest, Bulldog, and coming and having talks, and when I came back, just pretty much started a new year. Sitting down and checking in with Wayne every day, and some days Wayne would just make sure that I'm okay, and other days he was just say, just do what you need to do and head home and get your rest. So it's those conversations that we've always had. There's always been honest conversations. It's just sometimes difficult to have, but I've made my decision based on not the hunger or the passion. I just knew it was time. I just knew it was time for myself.
What about the injuries? Was that an impact as well?
No, it wasn't. I bounced back from ACL, bounced back from many injuries before. So it wasn't that. It was just to me, the way I see it, if I can't go out 100%, well then I won't be able to perform the best I can for my team. And that's what I carry with myself as a leader, as I did throughout this game and throughout this team. So I just knew just racing the clock, and I'm thankful enough that these guys gave me time to go home and see my family, get to speak to my nan and pop, who've been a big influence on my life, and now turn around and start laughing after she had a tear and said, you had to give it up someday. So, look, after I flew in the cost and got off the airport, I just knew it was time then.
Greg, weight today, does it feel like today is just a weight off your shoulders?
Yeah, the weight was off my shoulders after spending time back home in Coffs Harbour in Maxwell. I just knew then, told a few of the boys, and like Wayne said, to their credit, they kept it very quiet. And I told the boys after the game on Saturday, and right then and then, like it's no weight off my shoulders. I knew myself it was the right decision to make, and when you're making the right decision, well then you feel better about yourself and happier about yourself.
What was the boys' reaction when you told them?
Well, I couldn't look at Damien Cook. He started crying. So,
He's a sook.
yeah, he's a little bit of a sook, my little mate. But, I couldn't look at him. It was the first one I seen it, and I had to put my head down and look elsewhere. But most of the boys were pretty shocked. The ones knew it was coming. So it was, majority of them knew it was. That was taken back by it. But end of the day, like I keep saying, it was the right decision for myself, and so.
Who was the first person told?
Can't remember now. I think it was these two on the Monday morning, and like Richo said, he goes, just make sure you head back, and then went back home, told Mum and Dad, told Nan and Pop, told Levin, got them all in the room and told them all that, and I think it was Sutto. I think I rang Sutto and then Sammy, so.
OK, we'll leave that there for the moment. That was live from Sydney. A huge figure in rugby league over more than a decade, Greg Inglis, hanging up his boots, effective immediately.